Ready?
Yeah.
Hey guys and girls, I am Terry and I have been diagnosed about 2 months ago with bipolar disorder. And this is my friend Angie.
Hello, Angie Andrews. And I am a pastoral counselor that likes to bring everything back to the spiritual level of diagnoses and how we can heal from it.
And on today's episode, we are talking about relationships from the male's perspective and the female's perspective. We're going to talk about, what is it we're talking about?
The big deal today is going to be integrity. And how do we define that? And what are the differences that males and females bring to the same table to define integrity?
Basically, what attracts us to the opposite sex? Why do we want to pursue a relationship or get involved with this person? Plain and simple.
And when you take it on a deep level, there are multifaceted ideas, what we bring to the table, expectations, and currently in kind of like the waves that are sweeping our dating scene, everybody's like, lower your expectations, really dumb it down to the basement so that, you can just attract somebody and you really just want someone with a good job and, they're forward focused. But Terry and I have really put together quite a list that's the opposite of status quo and kind of the jargon that they want to like jam down your throat. So we don't think in actuality that the average person just wants to get hooked up with somebody, because what's the point in sitting next to a warm body? In fact, we are spiritual beings and we want something very deep. But females and males have a different idea of what that deep is.
I'm actually really glad you touched on status quo. So if you don't know what status quo is, it's sticking to the normal. It's like the same job. So you go from one job and then you pick up another job as a bartender. You stick with what you know. So stepping out of status quo is probably something that will benefit you, because you're like, when there's unbalance, when there's change, new good things come from change. So I'm glad that we touched on status quo real quick.
Well, here's the thing. So we were also kind of brainstorming about the topics that we're going to cover. And I'm just going to jump right in and use my latest experience as an example. Because in the past, because I'm a psychological mind and I approach everything that way, and I'm in the fields, I look for my relationships to be fulfilling. I want them to really feed my love languages. Gary Smalley has a famous book out there that talks about the 4 love languages. I already know mine is quality time and affirmation. So when I started hanging out with this person that was very driven, females like drive, females like the man to be able to bring home the bacon. But if he is doing that to a default where he's a workaholic and he doesn't make time for you and he's got to carve out, this, niche, really close to bedtime, and then you're just really feeling like a booty call, and then it's really like, the crumbs from the table, yeah, you need to back that train up. And so that has been my experience. I trust God, and I knocked on this dude's window and I just said, hey, I have experience. I'd like to help you work. And that was it. Work type mentality. I'm thinking I got, to pay my bills. But as I worked with him just one time, the intrigue was there. And for a female, we like to be mentally stimulated. And it was like, it didn't matter what he looked like. I just saw his persona, his physique, and it pierced straight to my heart in hearing him talk. But this is my big question. This is the 411 of a female's mind. How do you know when somebody is just bamboozling you? Like when they are just telling you and feeding you these lines of what you want to hear. I mean, there's this fine tuning of, oh my gosh, am I dealing with somebody who's a narcissist? Or am I dealing with somebody in this nice plutonic relationship of a work relationship with obvious attraction? I can get to know a person. But when do we decide to put all of our eggs in one basket?
Yes. So that was very well said. And what is our first topic?
Okay, so we're going to go with females basically want transparency. So that's going to be, we're always looking for, tell us the gut wrenching truth, and we act all big and bad, flexing our biceps, and we're like, we can handle it, just tell us, stick it to us and tell us what the truth is. But in reality, we don't fare well if you're going to tell me that I'm seeing you, but you're also interested in somebody else, and you're not really committed to a monogamous relationship.
Right.
That's going to make me cry a river. Done that today. Not really fun. So
right.
What do we do?
So what I believe, so there's a female that's actually interested in me, and one thing that I found is being transparent. Everybody wants to be loved for who they are, the things that they've gone through. Like, nothing in life is easy. So I was transparent with this female, and she took an interest in me. God forbid, I have no clue. Like, look at this ugly mug, okay? I don't know why, but she's interested in me.
That's love. You don't see all the outside. Just saying.
But yes, I think she took an interest because I told her my life story, and I'm like, look, like, this is me. I didn't hold anything back. There's nothing that I can hide, and I have no reason to hide anything. Like, you're gonna accept me for who I am, or I don't want you.
And let me just say that most females do approach relationship this way. To find a man that's willing to do this, I would say, Terry, is a rare thing. So let me just appropriate for females. When we are trusting and we're like, okay, I'm gonna tell this dude my life story, the big, the bad, the ugly, whatever it may be, is it true, I'm asking, is it true that men will like store this information and try to obtain the ways in which he can make that female not see any of the qualities that he could potentially carry that are just as dangerous?
That is very true. So I like to think of this as a blanket. When a guy that is very unstable, that isn't really ready for an actual relationship, he will do anything. It's like he will manipulate you. He will say what you want to hear. He will say what you want to do just so he can be with you when he's not mentally ready for a relationship. So he gives you lies about what he does, how much money he makes. He tries to make himself, he's like a blowfish. He pops up. He's trying to look big and bad.
I love
when
it.
he's a shrunken down raisin. He's nothing. And people wear their egos on their shoulders. So the people with the biggest, like, are actually the ones hurting the most on the inside.
I do definitely want to affirm that, because even when you do research with the Enneagram theory, which is like a Buddhist model from, Eastern religion, they always dumb it down to your ego is a protective shell. That's that thing that says, okay, I've been hurt, but you're not going to hurt me anymore. There was a commercial, back in the day. Nobody bothers me either. And it was, I don't know what it was even for, but it's this thing that all of us, male and female, need to be like, you ain't going to penetrate this. When bottom line is, we all want to let somebody in. Deep connection on a level where somebody knows who you really are, and they are completely fine with it, and they are willing to love you in spite of it. I personally believe that is the most transparent, truthful, trustworthy place that you can be. Do men want to go there?
I would say so.
Okay, this is what I'm hearing from a dude. Okay, I've not had that experience.
All right, so I guess let's take a pause right here. I'm a feminist. So
I am so not. Oh dang. Go ahead. I like it.
I have a little bit of empathy for females, and I think what we're talking about is like integrity and intentions. I can put myself in a female's perspective of what dude, like, just the ultimate ego, like the stereotypes. It's like, I feel the epitome of self-respect, so that's why I do care about it.
I just want to point out to the audience that we are new with this podcast,
yes.
Revelatory idea of doing videos over relationships, but that right there, that can get some followers, because I just don't, I haven't met somebody like Terry, except for we obviously met through work earlier this year, which is a God thing, but let me say, liars, pants on fire, because there are a lot of dudes that I have talked to just in my short little stint of being in the South here, And they are propelling and putting into the atmosphere, I mean, jargon like, look at me, I look good.
Yeah.
And, oh, I got what it takes. I'm thinking, when you have to state that and you have to convince the audience of maybe the mirror, your reflection, and the chick standing next to you, I don't know, that's a little bit of a red flag. And I'm just saying, if we are confident and content in who we are as an individual, and our identity is solid in, I'm working my recovery, I am not jumping from one relationship to the next. That's the biggest downside, man. Like the person that I was talking to, I was the one willing to say, you know what, you got baggage? We all do. I've been single for 16 months specifically, and then when I did the math, 2 years. And so I'm willing to take on this other person who has the same gift and calling on his life that I do. I want to start an orphanage. I'm thinking, this is the person I envisioned moving forward with my future. He said the magic words. I'm looking for someone to have companionship with, a helpmeet. These are Christianese type lingo things, but essentially, none of us want to bare our soul to somebody just to have that person turn around and walk away, and then we have to bare our soul again.
Right.
I can't deal with that. Like, now I'm feeling like a piece of rubbish on the ground.
I believe you.
Yeah. So I'm suspecting that men, we have the drives of men, which are sex, touch. Are they too high? Give me some top 5, top 3, top 5.
So I don't know if this is an age stipulation, but I want to say procreation.
You mean like sowing your seed?
Right.
Oh.
See,
yeah, I think that's right.
Everyone wants to evolve in life, so I want to say a little bit like a female is attracted to what your offspring is going to look like.
Oh, I would say that's true. And this comes from a chick that didn't want to pop out my own babies. I did, however, take in 11 people, but both ex-fiance, ex-husband, people that I've dated, they're like, do you want to have children? And I think the bigger underlying question was, with me.
Exactly.
And yes, I can see that. And they all got ticked off because the answer was no, because I didn't want to go through that for my own personal problems. And so they took that as rejection.
Yeah.
So I couldn't help them relive through their children, or is this carry the bloodline type thing?
True.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That, my friends, comes from, I was reading it today, Genesis 22. When we're talking about Jacob, Isaac, and Abraham and all that, dude, they just wanted kids.
They just want kids.
They just wanted to pop out the babies. And if that wifey didn't give it to them, guess what? Oh, concubine, come on over here and you're going to, like, give me what I need. So maybe that's the deal. Are we as women really hoping that we can snag a dude and that we can keep his affections solely on us? I have a sidebar. This is not in our notes. Question, because this is a new thing I'm hearing from my adoptive daughters even, that a dude can have a main girl, a main chick, and then he's got his side girl, right? Mm-hmm. So if side girl moves into main girl's position, then, one's kicked out. It doesn't mean that that's really the sole position, because there's a now open position for another side girl. So I'm learning this, and I'm just like, holy Toledo Batman, I think I was side girl, and I think I moved into main girl, and now I think we're both obsolete, because main girl and side girl had a conversation, and I learned that the dude that I'm basically falling for really has, I don't think, any intention to ever follow through on his empty promises with me at all. Dang, that sucks for me.
I think what you're saying is a good topic, because I believe somewhere in our notes
Yes.
we talk about this, and this can go both ways. A female can always have 3 guys as backups.
Oh yeah, the whole texting thing too. The texting era is like, hey, how you doing? I've texted the wrong person before. But at the same time, I have guy friends. I have not looked for a dating relationship until I stumbled upon this recent person and really was intrigued by his thoughts mostly. And what's the attraction for men? Is it different? Is it going to be a deep, penetrating conversation?
I don't know. I think this is somewhat biased, but for me, I like a girl that's cute but doesn't know it. Quiet and independent, and I don't know, just like I'm into nerdy girls that are just like cute and like in the corner, like they don't need like they're giving off that beautiful vibe, but they're not drawing attention to themselves. I don't like the girls that are all flashy, like, oh, look at me. Like, no, like, get out of that BS.
Okay, so we clearly went a date, but I'm kidding. But what I'm saying is, so there are personality requirements, most certainly. There are going to be opposites attract. What about this, though? In this day and age where we have so many people rising up with an opinion and social media is basically allowing the most unanointed people to have a voice, I basically think the safety that I'm finding in drawing boundaries to never walk down this road of being lied to or falling for somebody who has no intention of respecting me, and we're going to touch on respect, because I'm thinking, why would I put all my eggs in a basket with somebody who doesn't make time for me? Right. Is that a respect thing? If his gig is so important that he's only focused on that and can't see anything else, I think that's pretty much the writing on the wall.
Right.
You're not going to get much attention out of him, and if you do, you're going to be that prize for what? One night or two, and then it's going to go back to this fight or flight, feast and famine. And that can really emotionally tap into a lot of trauma victims, abuse victims, memories. It can actually make them relive something as simple as my mother used to put our bags to go back home to my father's house by the door Sunday morning. We had the entire rest of Sunday to spend together, but that wasn't until 9 o'clock that we go back to our home. Mom checked out.
Right.
So that triggers abandonment. We've got abandonment issues. If I need you to make me feel like I'm worthy, then I'm using you.
Yeah.
I mean, and does that mean I disrespect myself? I kind of think it does. I kind of think it means I'm not only disrespecting me, I'm disrespecting you because I only see you for what you can give me.
Exactly. Now, only what you see. A lot of people go for, like we were saying, the good job, or maybe even good looks. Maybe you're a big dummy and you just look good. I mean, it's whatever
I know
draws your attention. And
right.
We're going down to the nitty gritty. Like, what really makes a difference or matters?
Right. And when you look historically, when the creation of time started, the two top ringers for even looking for a soulmate was love and acceptance. Yep. It has never deviated from that because love conquers all, so to speak. It's that acceptance of, like I did with this dude. I knew he had just broken up with somebody. What about the rebound factor? How much time do we really need? I'm learning that it's quite a bit, actually. You cannot go from one relationship to the next. In talking to this guy, I knew he just left somebody, and I'm thinking, he could still have her on his mind when we're driving down the street together. And in reality, that is true. There's no set method. There doesn't need to be this, follow this program, but there does need to be a moment to breathe in between walking from a relationship into a new one, because you're only going to hurt yourself and you're going to hurt the new person. And you're also going to, I feel like, just throw shade completely at the invested time that you had with someone before.
True.
It's basically saying, check, you're off my list and I'm on to something better. Now, some people do that, but, maturity does not come with age. So,
no, that is for sure does not.
I mean, I remember just looking at my stepmom and being like, oh, I thought we were supposed to mature when we get older. And that really didn't, manifest for her. But when we look at where we're at now, and we are representing here different genders and age groups.
Yep.
So when you look at life as a journey, and you look at how are we going to evolve and not go around that mountain again. You were married.
Yes, absolutely.
Young and married.
So, little recap. I grew up young. I had a child through high school. So, we were 16 and pregnant, and my love life was strictly with one girl only. And we grew up, had a child, and got married and divorced within 6 months, but we were together for 8 years strong. So I believe that I'm a little bit more mature for my age, and with that being said, yeah, definitely different backgrounds.
Oh yeah, big deal. And
Yeah.
so, how, like, when we become a well-rounded adult, first and foremost, that means we're looking at our childhood pain.
Yep.
We're addressing a memory instead of saying, oh, just get over it. We're saying this actually caused me harm. Maybe an injustice occurred. Maybe a boundary was crossed with abuse. Right. But you know what? I get to look at that, assess it, feel it, surrender it, and that's my healing process. That should be something that we're doing throughout our entire lives. Yep. My first suggestion is, if you are with anybody that simply has to drink it under the table, drug it under the table, sex it under the table, text it under the table, they are not working their inner healing program.
Right.
And that's pretty much mandatory, especially when we're dealing with things like the holidays. Depression is at an all-time high when it comes to relationally not being able to connect with those that are in your own family.
Right, yeah.
And if you have a spouse or a partner that you're sitting right next to, and first and foremost, you don't even know their whereabouts, you don't even know if they're creeping at night on Facebook because you can see they're on there, but they sure as heck ain't talking to you. These are all things that point to, are you really the representation of integrity that you've projected? I mean, you're feeding me a line here, and I'm not seeing any backing to support that statement. Because why? Actions and patterns will always speak louder than words. A person can have all the best intentions. They can tell you blase blah, whatever you want to hear. And if you keep having that check in your spirit, and I call it like the palpitation of the heart, where I'm going to go into an anxiety attack, you're like, look cool on the outside, but on the inside, you're like, this fool is not having my best interest.
Yeah.
And if you dismiss that enough, before you know it, you're numbed out to it. And it becomes this excuse-making mentality where, well, he's really not that bad because he does this. Or she really has this strong quality, but I don't hear from her, when she leaves until like a full 24 hours to 36 hours pass.
Yeah, no, definitely.
That is no bueno. That's something that's definitely not gonna fly. And when you open up about your problems with somebody, now they have this privy information about you, and then you find out that they're living a patterned or habitual lifestyle that is completely unknown to you. We got problems. That's integrity.
So let's do a quick recap. Let's go down our list and see what we got and what we still need to talk about.
Okay. We're talking about trust, truth, and transparency. The integrity issue is probably the utmost for its highest. What about tapping into intuition?
Yeah, I don't think we covered intuition.
No.
So, if you're not familiar with what intuition is, it's that gut feeling. It's also called the butterflies in your stomach. It's when you feel that good intention, like, it's that grandmother and grandfather love, the unconditional, like,
soulmate.
I care about you. And it's also what gives you the disappointment. It's intuition. It's like you're coming home from school and you did bad on your test, that intuition, like the disappointment. But why we need to talk about intuition is the same exact feeling that you get when you feel like you're falling for somebody. Somebody's thinking about you. When you feel that connection, that's intuition. Just like you pick up your phone because or something pops in your head like, oh, she's gonna text me, and then right then and there they text. That's intuition. So you need to go with what your gut is telling you. If you're getting red flags, trust your intuition because it is 10 times more right than you are. If you have good feelings, it's probably because you should trust it. But I know a lot of people throw up that barrier because they have given into their intuition, and this dude's just an asshole. So that's why you build that wall, and it's so hard to throw yourself out on the line if you've been hurt so many times. I've been hurt once, so I don't have a huge rap sheet of advice, but what I did do is heal from being hurt.
Very powerful, very powerful. And that really is the forgiveness piece, which we haven't discussed. But if you're linking up with somebody who has no empathy, and they literally have maybe shoved their own childhood pain, and so now they're this self-made person, and they're mowing forward, lightning speed ahead, and they can't relate to the fact that you need to take a moment and pause, or you might shed a tear or two, I think that's a red flag. I think that just points to the fact that maybe they need to pause a little bit and reflect that they are not superhuman. I mean, we all have a superpower within, but, you know, the counter word for that is pride. And if someone is not able to humbly be able to say, I'm sorry that you're hurting. I really sense that you're hurting, and I know what that feels like.
Right.
That's necessary. That's a necessary component that actually reveals that somebody is being honest with him or herself. Able to say, this doesn't feel too good, and I don't want to repeat this. It's okay to say, I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm fearful, I'm joyful. It's okay to be expressive of any of those 4 core emotions. What happens is when you constantly have hope deferred, or you're looking to somebody to do what they say they're going to do, and they're constantly late, or you can't get a hold of them on the phone, these little simple things, they actually give you a message of truth. It's pointing to they at this time have their own stuff going on, and they are incapable of giving you what you need. If you are ready to move forward, you want to help meet, you want a companion, you want to grow old with somebody, you don't want to make the same mistakes that you did the first time around, you want to say, this is my girl, this is my man, then that means being transparent and working on the relationship is first admitting, hey, I don't have it all together, and I struggle with empathy, but I want to understand you. I want to be sympathetic to what you've lived. I don't want to make it a blanket statement that all women are the same. Oh my gosh, when I hear that, I legitimately, I envision myself becoming like a pterodactyl, and like I get these like wings. I don't even know. And I want to go "Row," and kill somebody, because I'm like, I don't know what you're missing out, but I am not the average chick. Right. I am not like everybody else. None of us are. There are prototypes, but when we look at our list, don't be telling me just to get over my past or forgive something when you haven't tried to step in my footsteps. And that is imperative for any 60-40, 20-80, 10-90 percentage of a relationship where it will be at the time, because it's never going to be 50-50. Yes. It's always going to be somebody is up, somebody's down. How can I help you? What do you need from me? And you have got to have somebody that's able to say, I'm struggling, I'm lacking, I don't know what I can bring to the table right now. What is it you need? Maybe I'm going to give a lifeline up to the heavens, and I'm going to ask for help. But empathy and integrity, in my opinion, give that intuition of, can this person provide this for me? Are they going to be able to walk with me in these deep areas? If not, let them roll.
Right. No, I couldn't have said it better myself. That was really good.
Right. Like, bye-bye. Just saying. And it's sad. It's sad. I don't know that there's a lot of candidates out there. I really don't.
That's definitely something, is finding somebody that's going to fit your role. I know we talk about setting the bar, your standards. A lot of people talk about lower your standards just to get with somebody. Well, you shouldn't ever lower your standards.
Yeah.
That one person is going to be out there, and until you are self-soothing, where you can be independent on your own and patiently wait, no matter how hard it is, that person is out there for you. And it makes waiting so much better. Now, I'm not saying sit at home on the couch and just hope someone knocks on your door. You have to go out and find that person. But with that being said, there are a lot of people out there that are not good people, that are not meant for you. And just because they may shine, they may be flashy or whatever, that person deep down inside is probably not the right person for you. That's why I like the girls that are hiding in the corner, because they're independent, but they're afraid, you know, they're afraid to come out, and that's where I feel like I have a strong point. I'm an introvert, but I can see, like, I have the intuition, the empathy, I can feel what it's like to be alone, and I know where they're coming from, and I can make that person's day, and that's what I look for, is people that are going out of their way, but need something.
Yeah, and if we, you know, when you think about love and acceptance is the crux, then you have trust that only comes through truth. So love and acceptance really only exists where there is truth, and the truth will set you free. If you have these red flags of somebody maybe being even a sociopath, we're talking to people that it's their lifestyle. It's kind of like everything revolves around them, and they're promoting themselves. It's in this day and age, we got, you know, people using their names as their brand for a business. And what happens if their business fails? Oh my goodness. You know, are they a reject? Are they now no longer worthy? Of course not. But there's a real close attachment that we have assimilated with people's worth now according to their dollar value or how successful, you know, they appear to be online. And success, I would say, in the relational areas are always going to be how well do you get along with the people under your roof. If you've got this great, grandiose business or ministry outside your home front, but you can't even have a conversation at dinner time with your spouse and your children, that is not success, my friends. I'm so sorry. You need to back that train up, and you need to be like, what isn't working here? Because we will attract, through the light and illumination and the self-respect inside of us, it will overflow, and we will attract those people. They will want something from us. I call that the anointing. It will either attract or repel. So if we're good and we're solid and nurturing our closest relationships, then every other relationship and facet of our life that we put our hands to will prosper. But if we are negating the very people that we think we should always be able to run back to, fall back on, rely on, and lay next to at night, and just be like, oh baby, come up and, you know, rub on me. Okay, no, that is not okay when you have not invested your heart, your time, your touch, whatever it is that you know I need into me. And that comes from self-respect, knowing who you are as an individual, and saying, you know what, my like-mindedness is pretty important. The same standards that I value and hold, I actually want to keep close to me by the circle of friends that I have closest to me. And that's a challenge for all of us, because relationally we were made to get along well with others. If we can't play nice at home, we are going to throw sand in the sandbox outside of our house. It's not a good mix.
Is that kind of wrapping it up or no?
I'm thinking we've covered all of our topics. And of course, our hope is that we can elaborate on all of these, because relationships make the world go rounds.
All right. So before we wrap this up, I want to invite you to leave a comment down below. I want to talk to the community. I want to know you. I want to get to talking. Leave a comment down below of anything you want to hear next in our videos, any comments that you felt on this video. But other than that, I think it's going to wrap it up, unless you want to finish this off.
I think we're fantastic, and thank you for listening, and we hope to share many, many more topics with you.
Yes. Have a wonderful rest of the night.
Bye-bye.